message.
Hello and welcome here guys to a different video from me today. We're talking about Man United ahead of their game against Olympiakos tonight in the Champions League. Of course they're 2-0 down going into that game at Old Trafford, needing to turn that around for a place in the quarter-finals, and certainly it's a game which Man United wants to win because the pressure really is mounting on their new manager David Moyes. Taking over of course from Sir Alex Ferguson was never going to be an easy task, and he certainly hasn't made it easy for himself. And what I want to make this video about is why David Moyes is different from Sir Alex, and that's not in the sense that, oh, David Moyes isn't as good as Alex Ferguson. That's not my point. The point is, when people are talking about David Moyes' future and David Moyes as Man United manager, there's a lot of talk of, oh, David Moyes, he's not as good as Man United, he's not as good at the moment, but he'll come good. You know, he's got a 6-year deal, he'll get there. And then when a lot of people are talking about sacking him, they're saying that they'll stand by the new manager because when Alex Ferguson took over in his first season, he finished 11th. And everybody stood by Sir Alex, and look where they are now. The problem is, when Sir Alex Ferguson took over Man United, they weren't the Man United of today. Man United were Man United in the mid-table. They were not a big team. Sir Alex took them over and transformed them. David Moyes took over a title-winning side. And whilst I believe the players in that squad probably aren't good enough to win the title this year, they're still good enough to be in the top 4. You look at the quality of their players: Wayne Rooney, Robin van Persie, David De Gea, Nemanja Vidic, there's Cardiff in there, there's Januzaj, the young prospect. And you look at the team and you think that maybe David Moyes has inherited a title-winning team there, but that team, for me, looking at it and looking at the other teams in the round, is still good enough to make the top 4, at least really challenge for that top 4, maybe finish 5th. But Man United this season have completely fell off the pace, and that's why David Moyes is different to Ferguson. Not because that, oh, when Ferguson took over, he finished 11th. Moyes is going to do the same, and then we'll build on it. Alex Ferguson took over the club when it wasn't in a great state. David Moyes here took over a championship-winning side, and a side that was good enough. They're all international players, they're all on high salaries, they've all got vast experience in the English Premier League, and certainly David Moyes hasn't done well enough, he hasn't signed well enough, his formation and his tactics aren't convincing enough, and even his pre-match press conferences, they're not quite good enough, they're not quite giving the confidence the Man United fans need. I don't think it's a real problem. I don't advocate to always say, oh, sack the manager, but certainly in this case I think David Moyes needs to really consider whether he is the right man to take Man United forward, and if he isn't, maybe it's best if he does step aside, because certainly David Moyes has a very, very big problem, and this is nothing like Sir Alex's first season.